Okay, let's continue with the scorable markers. Already we discussed about the selectable marker and scorable marker. As I told you earlier, scorable markers are the one which is used for checking the gene expression level, how much amount of that particular protein has been expressed. That can be identified with the help of the scorable markers. Scorable markers are also known as reporter genes, and you can also call it as screenable markers. So I think all of you are clear with the difference between a selectable marker and a scorable marker or reporter gene. Selectable markers are used just to identify whether the plant cell or the whichever host you are using, whether it has taken up the foreign DNA. Whereas the reporter genes or screenable marker or scorable markers are used for identifying the gene expression level. Okay, that you have to understand. So when it is asked in the examination, you have to write the difference between a reporter gene and a selectable marker gene. So reporter genes are the one which are used for to test the expression level, which can be quantified. So it is also called as screenable marker. And an assay of the reporter gene is carried out by estimating the quantity of protein it produces or the final product found. Okay, so we'll be, once after the expression, identifying the expression, we will be doing a quantification method, either calorimetric assay or you can use a fluorimeter. If it is fluorescence, you can use a fluorimeter. If it is a luminescence, you can use a luminometer and identify the amount of gene expression or the level of gene expression can be checked with the help of this kind of markers. So in the case of plant transformation system, generally we use 7 different types of scorable markers. They are, first one is known as GFP. GFP stands for green fluorescent protein. Second one, 2 types of luciferases are used. One is luciferase, which is isolated from bacteria. Another one is luciferase, which is isolated from the firefly. All of you might have seen how firefly looks. Firefly also has the luminescence or the light emission from the firefly. That is because of an enzyme which is there in the firefly, which is called as the luciferase. We can use that one, or the luciferase which is there in some of the bacteria. Another one is CAT. CAT is chloramphenicol acetyltransferase. Another one is GUS. GUS is glucuronidase, and NOS stands for Napalin synthase. And last one is OS or octopine synthase. Okay, octopine synthase, Napalin synthase, glucuronidase, luciferase from bacteria, luciferase from firefly. Then we can use CAT, that is chloramphenicol acetyltransferase, and the most widely used one is green fluorescent protein, which is isolated from a jellyfish. So one by one we will see. The first one what we are going to see is green fluorescent protein. Okay, GFP. Green fluorescent protein. Green fluorescent protein is isolated from jellyfish Aquaria victoria. Okay, green fluorescent protein or GFP is isolated from a jellyfish Aquaria victoria. And once after introducing this GFP along with the foreign DNA, so GFP you will be using as a scorable marker, and along with that you are going to introduce the foreign DNA. So once it enters into the plant cell, the level of gene expression can be checked by using a fluorimeter. Okay, so GFP, green fluorescent protein that emit fluorescence, which can be checked with the help of fluorescent microscope, or you can connect it to the fluorimeter and check the fluorescence. So amount of fluorescence, how much ever amount of fluorescence is there, that is directly proportional to the gene expression level. So that is the use of green fluorescent protein. So green fluorescent protein is widely used because you can both quantify and qualify by looking at the fluorescence. You can confirm that it has taken up the foreign DNA, and also you can analyze how much amount of the gene expression level or level of gene expression can be checked with the help of the green fluorescent protein. So the important points to remember under this one is, it is a reporter gene, which is also called as scorable marker or screenable marker. Green fluorescent protein is isolated from a jellyfish Aquaria victoria. So it's isolated from that particular jellyfish. Name of the jellyfish you need to remember. That's a luminescent organism which is there in the ocean. Okay, green fluorescent emit fluorescence which can be detected in two ways. One is by connecting to a fluorimeter, you will get the amount of fluorescence, or you can check it through the fluorescent microscope. Okay, that's all about the green fluorescent protein. Next we are going to see the second one, that is lux. So you have to always keep this in mind. Two luciferases are there. Luciferase from bacteria is called as lux, and luciferase from the firefly is known as LUC. Okay, remember that difference because this is important for competitive examination. Lux is isolated from bacteria, whereas LUC, that is isolated from the firefly. First we are going to see about the lux. Okay, lux or the luciferase which is isolated from bacteria. The luciferase enzyme is present in some of the organisms which are there in the seashore. Okay, some of the microorganism which is there in the seashore, or the bacteria which lives in the ocean or in the sea, they have this fluorescence. Okay, those organisms are Vibrio harvey. One is Vibrio harvey, another one is Vibrio fischeri. Okay, these are marine microorganisms, we can say. They are present on the seashore, and even in the sea you can see them. So they emit fluorescence. So this bacteria in some of the aquatic organism, you can see that luminescence, light emission, you can see that is sometimes because of the presence of this bacteria in that particular organism. Okay, so Vibrio harvey and Vibrio fischeri, they have this luciferase gene. Okay, the luciferase gene which is there in the Vibrio harvey and Vibrio fischeri, it is actually called as LUXF2. This LUXF2, it consists of two subunits. One is LUXA, another one is LUXB. So LUXA and B, when it combines together, it is called as the LUXF2. Okay, LUXF2 is the one which codes for the bacterial luciferase. Now, the activity of this particular reporter gene can be measured by isolating the enzyme extract. How will you isolate the enzyme extract? Once after introducing this LUXF2 along with the foreign DNA into the plant cell, once you after getting your plantlet, you are not checking the gene expression level in the cell level. Once you get the plantlet, the transformed plantlet, you can take a part of the plant like a leaf or a shoot tip or any part of the plant can be taken and grind it with an appropriate buffer, make an extract. So this is a crude enzyme extract. Okay, the plant extract you need to make, and once after making the plant extract, you need to add two things into the plant extract. Okay, once the plant extract is ready, you have to add. So how will you make the plant extract? You are adding buffer to a small part of the plant, grinding it properly, and you get the plant extract. Into this plant extract, this is the plant extract in the test tube. Into this plant extract, you are going to add two things. One is aldehyde, another one is, two things are added. You have to remember, one is aldehyde, another one is FMNH2. Okay, into the test tube you have to add an aldehyde and FMNH2. Now, reduced flavin mononucleotide substrate and aldehyde, when you add in the presence of oxygen, okay, this reaction will happen. It has the plant extract. If it has the LUXF2 or the luciferase reacts with aldehyde and FMNH2 in the presence of oxygen and magnesium ion, and you can see in the test tube, you can see luminescence, light emission can be seen. So this tube will be connected to a luminometer. How will you estimate the amount of the level of gene expression? By connecting this one, the solution will be kept on a luminometer. The luminescence which is emitting, the luminescence which is coming out from that particular extract, that will be measured by the luminometer. The amount of luminescence is directly proportional to the gene expression level. Fine. So this is how we have to estimate the LUXF2. If you are using LUXF2 as the scorable marker, you can analyze the level of gene expression by doing a simple enzyme extract, wherein once after introducing this foreign DNA and the LUXF2 into the plant cell, you have to leave the plant to grow. Once you get the plant, you can take a small part of the plant, make an extract by adding appropriate buffer, grind it, and take the crude extract of the enzyme. What enzyme we are looking for? We are looking for the luciferase, which is from the bacteria, which we have used as the scorable marker. If the extract, if it has the luciferase, how it will have the leaf extract? If the plant has taken up the foreign DNA and the selectable marker, the plant extract will have the enzyme. Into that test tube, you need to add aldehyde and flavin mononucleotide, reduced flavin mononucleotide. In the presence of oxygen and magnesium ion, the luciferase which is there in the plant extract react with that, and you can see the luminescence or light emission can be seen, which can be checked by keeping the test tube in a luminometer. So the amount of luminescence will be checked by the luminometer, and this is how we can detect the activity. Okay, so this is how we can measure the activity of the Lux F2G. So clear? I think all of you are clear with that. Next one, what we are going to see is luciferase, which is isolated from firefly, which is called as LUC. So this is from the firefly. Now, which is the firefly? The firefly is North American firefly. North American firefly. The name of the firefly is Photinus pyralis. This also you have to remember. The luciferase LUC that is isolated from a North American firefly, Photinus pyralis. Okay, Photinus pyralis is the organism or the firefly from which this luciferase gene is isolated, and this is used widely as the reporter gene. Okay, now how will you do the assay? To check the expression level of this luciferase along with the foreign DNA, you have to catalyze an oxidative decarboxylation reaction. For doing the oxidative decarboxylation reaction, you have to, similar to that of Lux, you have to make the plant extract. After making the plant extract, into the test tube, you have to add the substrate luciferin. So in the other extract, it is not luciferin, you will be adding a reduced flavin mononucleotide. And here it is, we are not reduced flavin mononucleotide and aldehyde. In this case, LUC will be adding luciferin. So when you add luciferin, luciferin will react with the enzyme luciferase, which is there in the plant extract in the presence of oxygen and magnesium ion, and it will give the luciferin, what you are adding, that will react with the enzyme luciferase, which is there. If it is there in the plant extract, if luciferase is there, luciferin react with the luciferase and it will give oxyluciferin. Due to the formation of oxyluciferin, you can see the light emission. So the light emission can be checked by using a luminometer. It is very simple assay. The assay is done by making a plant extract. Into the plant extract, we need to add luciferin. When you add luciferin, the luciferin will react with the luciferase enzyme and a product will be formed. The reaction will be in the presence of oxygen and magnesium ion. The product formed is oxyluciferin that can be detected with the help of luminometer. Okay, so that's all about the luciferase. Next one is CAT. What is CAT? CAT stands for chloramphenicol acetyl transferase. So chloramphenicol acetyl transferase is another selectable marker which is used for identifying the presence of foreign DNA and also to quantify the level of gene expression. In this case, we will be using the CAT gene as the foreign DNA. Okay, so to do the enzyme analysis, you have to take a test tube, make the plant extract, and into the plant extract you have to add acetyl CoA, okay, and C14. Okay, that is a labeled chloramphenicol. So next reporter gene which is used is CAT. If you are using CAT as the selectable marker gene. So this diagram always you need to keep it in mind. In between the left and right border, we are using CAT, and along with the CAT there is foreign DNA. So once after transferring this into the plant cell, you will make the plant grow and you get a plant. And we assume that this is a transgenic plant or plant with the foreign DNA. To analyze whether the plant has taken up this CAT and the foreign DNA, you have to make an enzyme extract. Okay, once the enzyme extract is ready, what is there in the enzyme extract? It will have the foreign DNA and also chloramphenicol acetyl transferase. Into the test tube, you have to add labeled chloramphenicol. Labeled chloramphenicol is C14, labeled chloramphenicol, and along with that you have to add acetyl-CoA. Chloramphenicol which is labeled plus acetyl-CoA. What is the enzyme? Chloramphenicol acetyl transferase. So there will be an acetyl transfer reaction will happen. Due to the reaction, okay, when you add acetyl-CoA and labeled chloramphenicol, this will be converted to acetylated one. The chloramphenicol will be acetylated because chloramphenicol acetyl transferase will transfer the acetyl group C80 which is there in the plant extract, will transfer this acetyl group to the chloramphenicol. Okay, so you will get a acetylated chloramphenicol, and this formation of acetylated chloramphenicol, this can be detected by a technique called as autoradiography. You remember what is autoradiography? Last semester I taught you several times this autoradiography. Since we are using a radio labeled chloramphenicol, we can go for an autoradiography technique. So when you go for autoradiography technique, you will get to know the level of gene expression. So autoradiography is the technique which is used here. Clear with all of you are clear with that, I think. Chloramphenicol acetyl transferase, to find out whether it has taken up the foreign DNA, you need to take a plant extract or enzyme extract, and into that you need to add labeled chloramphenicol and acetyl-CoA. The chloramphenicol acetyl transferase will transfer the acetyl group to the chloramphenicol, and you get acetylated chloramphenicol. Due to the formation of acetylated chloramphenicol, radioactivity will be there, which can be measured by autoradiography. Fine. So that is also done. Next one is GUS. GUS stands for glucuronidase. Okay. From last few years, bacterial DNA encoding beta-glucuronidase is used as the scorable marker. This will convert glucuronide substrate to a colored product. Okay. So to identify that, again it is same. You have to make the plant extract. So once the plant extract is ready, what is the selectable marker here? We are using glucuronidase. So you are taking the plant extract. We assume that the plant extract has glucuronidase along with the foreign DNA. To identify this presence of this glucuronidase which is there in the enzyme extract, you have to add the substrate. The substrate which is added is glucuronide substrate. That will be converted. When you add glucuronide will be converted to a colored product. So you can see the color change. The color change, if the color is changing, you can check the difference in the color with the help of a calorimeter. Okay, that's all about the GUS. GUS is glucuronidase. This is isolated from bacteria. It is used as a scorable marker, and it will convert glucuronide into a colored product. Next one is NOS, that is nopalin synthase gene. Nopalin synthase and opine synthase. Okay, opine synthase and nopalin synthase both are used as a selectable marker gene. In the case of, first we will discuss about the octopine synthase gene. These genes are present in the TA plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens. If you remember the structure of the TA plasmid, there one octopine synthase gene is there. So octopine synthase or nopalin synthase both are isolated from the TA plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens. There are two ways for detection of opine. To identify the presence of opine, what you need to do is you have to do the protein extraction from the sample. From the plant sample, you need to extract the protein. Incubate the extract with opine precursor. Opine precursors are arginine and pyruvic acid. So you have to mix it with arginine and pyruvic acid. And what happens here is, due to the reaction, because you are adding arginine and pyruvic acid, that will react with the octopine synthase and octopine will be synthesized. the formation of octopine can be checked with the help of the paper chromatography. So the thickness of the band which is there in the paper chromatography, that will determine the level of gene expression. In the case of nopalin synthase, you can add the substrate arginine or arginine and ketoglutaric acid. Okay, so arginine and ketoglutaric acid can be added into the plant extract. This also can be checked with the help of the paper chromatography. Okay, the detection of these opines are usually done by the staining technique and by checking the width of the spot which is formed on the paper chromatography. I'll explain it once again. Opine synthase, this is the opine synthase. Another one is the nopalin synthase. Both the genes are present in the TI plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens. To detect the enzymatic activity for the synthesis of this opine, both octopine and nopalin both are opines. If you go through the TA plasmid chapter, you can see that there I mentioned about this octopine and nopalin. Both are coming under the category opine, and to analyze the level of gene expression, what you need to do is you need to do the protein extraction, incubate the plant extract with opine precursor. In the case of octopine synthase, you have to add the precursor arginine, pyruvic acid, and leave the sample for enzyme reaction to happen. Arginine and pyruvic acid will be converted to opine by the octopine synthase gene. So that can be detected with the help of paper chromatography. If you are using nopalin synthase, precursors are arginine and ketoglutaric acid, that gets converted to nopalin with the help of nopalin synthase. That also can be detected with the help of the paper chromatography technique. So that's all about the reported genes which are generally used in the plant transformation system. Green fluorescent protein, luciferase from bacteria, luciferase from lux. This you have to remember always: lux and luz, chloramphenicol acetyltransferase, glucuronidase, nopalin synthase, and the octopine synthase. So that's all about the different types of markers which are used to identify the plant transformation. So with this 404 syllabus is completed. I have finished with all the topic. You can go through the topics once again and check whether all the topics are done. If anything is left, you can just inform me. Okay. So one plant viral vector, one chapter is there which I have taught you in the last semester itself. So you can go through that. If any confusions are there, I can teach you that topic once again. Otherwise, all the topics which is given in 404, which is allotted for me, that is done. Today itself, you highlight the syllabus and mark and check. If anything is left, let me know. Okay. Thank you so much.